Hey, my friends, I am Loki Jesse with Chocolate Horror and Cult Film Review. I am here at La Oficina Office Cafe, and I'm going to interview Sisters Rebecca and Theresa Rodriguez about their latest film and what they have come up and all that other fun jazz. So stay tuned. Hello, everybody. I am Loki Jesse of Troglodyte Horror and Cult Film Review. I am here with the lovely renegade sisters, Theresa and Rebecca. That one's Theresa, this one's Rebecca. And they are filmmakers. One's based in Laredo, Texas, the other's in Austin, Texas. You can figure out which is which. Hello, ladies. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having us.
Fantastic. I had my coffee, so I'm back to life.
And this is Women's History Month. So these girls just premiered their film last night at the Laredo Film Society Festival for Women in Film. Was that what it was called? Women in Film? Or
I think
what?
it was Women in Film Showcase.
Showcase, yes. And how. Okay, brain fart. No, but like, so how was the turnout? How was the event?
Well, they had a sold out crowd. I mean, I'm sorry, the venue was sold out, and that was great. Very happy for LFS. Very happy that people are interested in seeing the work that local women or women from the border are putting out. A little daunting because I'm not one for big crowds, right?
Yeah,
But
I
it
hear
was
you.
also really, like I said, just really cool to see so many people be so supportive.
Yeah, it was really encouraging to see a bunch of people there showing up for each other, showing up for Laredo, showing up for film, and kind of saw a little bit of brewing for like future projects, even amongst ourselves and like everybody else. So it's a good networking event too.
Was like, 'cause I know you were in last year's folk film fest at Tammy with the Film Society. That was your first event, right?
Yes, that was my first. I guess you could say that was my first
Okay.
film. For that one, I wrote the screenplay and produced
Hmm.
the film, and it was directed by my friend Itzel Serrano, who was also featured in last night's showcase.
Terry, was this like your first showcase, or have you
I
been before?
believe so. I mean, my first showcase with a submission that I worked on. Otherwise, it's been student projects.
That's cool. That's good. And what was your feature about, or short feature?
So our short film was actually a visual poem, and it was called "A Blackbird Named Sunny." That was originally a poem that I adapted into a screenplay. So the story just follows a real life event that occurred, a childhood memory of the time my sister and I went to a park with our mother. And on our way out, we discovered an injured bird. And so we spent, the afternoon trying to nurse it back to health. And unfortunately, the bird didn't make it. Spoiler alert. Um, but that experience was my first encounter with loss and grief. And obviously, it stayed with me many years later. And a few months ago, my sister and I were kind of reminiscing on that experience and sharing what we learned from it and even filling in each other's memory gaps. So that is like our story.
Yeah, I mean, we it's funny how like we kind of remembered certain things in one light or one sort of way, and like we didn't know the other one actually remembered so many details. So it was actually really what's the word, insightful to like actually hear each other out and not just like, say the story the way we remember it, and then use that to work together to put together the narrative and bring it to life. Again, no pun intended.
Reanimated.
Oh, we made so many like dark jokes while working on this. Oh yeah, my algorithm is full of crow memes and how we should
Wow.
love and honor crows. It's
Well,
wild.
yes, crows are so
They
awesome. In
are.
fact, it's part of the crow family. I consider my spirit animal the magpie.
Oh,
Have you ever
okay.
seen the magpies?
Yes.
Yeah, because they have like a lot of they're slightly more smarter than the raven, but also there are like so many mythologies and stuff. So that's kind of like
Yeah.
Mhm.
a that kind of does it for me.
Yeah.
And it's interesting you mentioned that because again, like, the story at first, I guess, glance, it's like, oh, this is just a childhood memory. But when I was, because we filmed it where at the actual park, Tres Laredos, where this event took place.
Scene of the
And
crime.
so, see, no, because I don't know what had happened to that bird. We still don't know. But that's another film.
Yeah, it's the greatest mysteries like JFK.
I'm trying to talk about my art here.
Okay.
Arts.
Art.
um no, but
It's
we it was filmed on location where that event took place, where we discovered Sunny. And so while I was working with our director of photography, Cassandra Silva, who was wonderful, by the way. It was a great help to us, immensely helpful.
She bridged the gap. She bridged the gap because she lives actually in Austin, or she's based in Austin, and happened to go down to film and then came back and transferred the footage to me. And that was like a huge relief to like actually just meet somebody instead of like have everything like kind of in the cloud or the stratosphere. Like it made it more real in a way because I didn't get to actually get on set. So
Yeah, and when I was working with Cassandra at the park, and we're just kind of taking some like test footage, and we're watching, flocks of crows flow, on both sides of the river, and it kind of, it occurred to me right then and there, like how symbolic that was, in a way that, every day in the border town you have people crossing on both sides. And we went through this experience of helping this bird, it's little poor little bird, pass into, this, the afterlife or whatever, you want to believe. That was one of my favorite parts of filming, was just like making all these like connections and letting the story kind of evolve while still like maintaining like the heart of the story. I don't know if you want to add anything else to that.
Um, yeah, I was gonna say like when I was editing it and we talked about it a lot more, it occurred to me that there was so many underlying themes besides grief, besides loss, besides the afterlife. There was the concept of you know, the way the different parents dealt with it and like how, one just kind of like said, okay, well, good luck with that. And the other actually dealt with the repercussions and how that's very symbolic of like the overall situation we had. And so that was really cathartic to see on the screen and just to like finally kind of commemorate like each person for their role in things, and just kind of like solidify it because we talk about it all the time, but it's so again healing to see that representation, even if it wasn't like even there if there was no closure, you still see it on the screen and you're like, okay, I can come to terms with this.
Mhm.
That's my opinion.
That's a good opinion, though.
Thank you.
So, what got you all into filmmaking?
I think you should answer this question first because you've been doing it longer.
Well, okay, yes, I'm the older sister. No,
We're not twins.
yeah, we're not twins. Get it in your head. No.
Yeah,
As far as filmmaking, it was, I mean, I started with photography. That was kind of like my gateway drug into the visual media. And I enjoyed photography. Then I realized that, you know, people can like document everyday life. And we had a documentarian come from my eighth grade graduation film, and just seeing everything like set up, the camera, the lights, the green screen, it lit up something in me that I was like, I didn't know this was possible. Like, I watched TV, I watched film, but I didn't know that like what was on the other side was so interesting. And ever since then, I've tried to get into it in any which way I could through, Austin Public Studio or volunteering for film festivals and just shooting or recording whatever I could. I'm still, dealing with the semantics saying filming versus shooting. But now I am. back in school to actually get a degree and pursue a career in it, but it was just something that I kept coming back to every so often. And I think the bug bit you.
Yeah, and I think the bug bit me maybe because I saw my sister, like, we've been witnesses to each other's creative journeys.
That's good.
I'm more of a writer, right? But I went to the VMT Magnet School and I studied journalism. Shout out VMT. We're both VMT alumni. And I also got into photography and did some, video projects for school. And I was also just like a really angsty teenager. So that kind of like sparked my interest in filming. And, even into college, I took some film classes here and there, learned, the basics of like how to write a script and um, you know, the different types of shots, but it wasn't something I felt like I was qualified to like really pursue because I didn't have like a degree in film or all the right equipment. Like honestly, with this film, had it not been for Cassandra, I would have filmed it on my phone. Yeah, I always like to joke around. It's like I had my iPhone, a tripod, and a dream. And that's not to, talk down on people who do film with their phones. I think,
Yeah.
it's a great tool, obviously, but I'm very happy that, Cassandra was again willing to bridge that gap between, the physical gap,
Yeah.
between my sister and I, and help us make this happen. And also kind of help me learn, or brush up on stuff that I learned earlier, but haven't had a chance to apply in a long time.
Well, I've I always like to repeat Joe Bob Briggs because like he had this one segment on his last drive in titled "Keep on Rolling," where it's not the 60s or 70s. Like you don't really need film school. I mean, like it's good if you can afford it, if you can go,
Mhm.
but everything is it's at your disposal. You could go to the library, you can go online, you can learn how to do things on YouTube. Like you don't need a fancy camera, just like a phone. Even the latest, I think last year's film, the 28 years later,
Mhm.
they did it through an iPhone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they filmed it through an iPhone,
I'll
so
check it
it's
out.
like I haven't seen it yet. I know, and I'm into horror films, but not mainstream. But that's besides the point. Um, no, like if you could go, awesome, but you don't really need it. Like everything is at your disposal. You know, and there's a lot of good writers. There's a lot of great actors, especially like in your local theater. Like everything is available. You just have to go and look for it. And this, even if it takes a long time, like I said, like when you start your appointment 2019, and then like you just was it 2019?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, like like even if takes a while, like you gonna finish it because there's just one Japanese director that got inspired by Evil Dead, and it took him 20 years to finish his film.
I
20
feel so
20
much
Yeah.
better.
20 years, and like he did it all through like VHS and stuff. So it's like it doesn't matter how long you take, like again, like just repeating Joe Bob because like he is a good inspiration for me. Like there is no aspiring. It's like when you sit down, you're a writer. When you're thinking about making a film, you're a filmmaker. End of story. There's no aspiring. You're gonna do
Thank
it.
you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is that's actually pretty validating for me because like I went back to school after years, and it's one of those things where like I have classmates that are actually like half my age, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? Imposter, imposter. And then I realized that like nobody's looking at me for like my age or anything. Like we're all on a level playing field, taking the same class,
Hmm.
working with the same equipment, and I kind of de-escalate, and I realize that like as long as I just keep on doing the thing, like I'm doing the right thing, like whether it's just recording something on my phone, getting the camcorder, like it's at least the process of like filmmaking, even if it's thinking about it, like you're creating a storyboard in your head, and like that's that's the first step, instead of like telling yourself like you can't do this because you didn't go to school or you don't have the stuff. Like as long as you have the dream, the ambition, then you have like the fuel, you have the spark. So
Yeah.
I think it's very motivating.
Yeah, because again, like because like I started off in podcasting. And I'm still a podcaster, sort of, but everybody kept telling me, "Oh, you should do video, you should do YouTube channel," and I just wasn't ready for it yet. Now I do feel ready. But again, like I did the same thing that I did before I started the show. I did my research. I looked up equipment. I looked up
Yeah,
software. Like, again, everything is there at your
it
disposal.
is.
Everything's like nothing is off limits. Like everything is there. There's like, yes, there's gonna be like some, oh, like pay $50. We'll teach you the tips and trade. Like, no, you just need to like network. You need to like not just network, but like you just have to find people with similarities and stuff that have the same path and the same dream, because you just go forward from there.
Yeah, and that's exactly what this experience was like for us because, like I mentioned earlier, I did take some film classes in college, and but a lot of them were like more oriented towards like documentaries because I was studying, journalism. Um, so to write like my own story based off of like, yeah, I guess like my own original story was something new, and honestly, I was also very flattered when people said like, "Oh, did you go to school for this?" I'm like, "Not exactly." But honestly, I got really comfortable working on screenplays after just reading some online for some, especially for some of my favorite films, and trying to see like, okay, what did they, do, whether it was through words or through like action, that I want to not copy them, but kind of like use that influence. So yeah, like you said, like there's so many resources out there, whether it's books, websites. I know I got a lot of help from the Internet Movie Script Database.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that is so. It's a great thing,
Mhm.
and always, I'm a firm graduate in YouTube University, because that's where I learned most of my stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I call it too. Specifically when I'm working with like DIY home stuff or car stuff, I'm like, "Ugh, time to bust out the old YouTube U degree."
Yeah.
But no, that's something that's actually been encouraging me to keep going and like actually get the technical knowledge and like work towards actually entering the workforce through like internships and whatnot. Was it was the fact that like there's so much at our disposal that like even when I'm not working on it like in a school setting, I can work towards something like we did. So it's just about actually tapping into like the what all the internet has to offer and just like having that mindset of yes, I can grow, yes, I can learn, and I can make something, and not pigeonholing yourself into like I'm gonna make an Oscar winning film. Like no, no, nobody's like gonna make it on their first try. And like for me the goal is just for people to see it and like um if you come out with your interpretation, that's fantastic. And if you come out like asking questions, that's even better. Like that's exactly what art is, like that
Yeah.
connection. But that's all I have to say about that.
What was the one film that kind of? Well, do you have a film that kind of like jump started it, or no?
I'm gonna have to take some time to think.
Um,
Uh,
let's see. Not just films, but also music. But I would say that the film that I didn't realize like indirectly influenced me until like we were already like I think we had already wrapped filming and my sister was already editing was the Florida Project. And just like, other films that, use I guess like the POV of children, witnessing, things that maybe are a bit beyond their capacity to understand, because that was kind of like what we were reminiscing on was like, oh my God, like, I was 6 years old and I realized this moment was much bigger than trying to help an injured bird.
Yeah. I mean, I can't specify one specific film that inspired this. I do love watching documentaries. I actually really enjoy documentaries, and I'm that type of person. So that kind of like realistic, sort of setting and dealing with like actual human emotions, doing what do you call it, reenactments, true crime. I
oh.
love it. I am, yes, like I I'm a true crime junkie. Not that there's any crime involved in this film, but just kind of taking a note of like making it real. And like honestly, one thing that I wasn't scared to do that I may have been years ago was silence. We had a little bit of silence there. not every moment had to be spoken over or, played music over. Like we wanted people at least to kind of sit and think for a second and let things soak in. So just anything that's grounded in reality and not trying to like sugarcoat everything is what inspires me.
That's good. Now, okay, so big surprise, you're sisters. So was there any like sibling rivalry or arguments during filming? Like, oh, I could have did that better. You're not doing it
Wait.
right.
No, I just like to fake you
See, see what I have to put up with. I mean, I can say
For all these years.
all these years. She's actually working on a whole documentary about like exposing me, all the blackmail she's collected over the years. But truthfully, I was really happy that I got to finally work with my sister on something because you spend more than a couple of minutes around us and you know that we're always yeah, even our own father is like I can't be like alone with you two for too long because it's just, constant yapping, but also sharing a lot of ideas. We're both again very creative people. So honestly, it was
I
an honor to work with my sister.
Yeah, same here. Like no rivalry. Like honestly, not that we don't have rivalry. We're constantly like roasting each other, but it's playful. And like we're always looking to reconnect with each other some way or another. Like we're always like kind of each other's like otters, you know what I mean? Like we
Yeah.
hold hands so we don't drift apart. And it was an honor to work with you, and it was like just finally great to like see you in that light as a colleague rather than just sister and friend. Like we could actually connect on this level too. So it was like a bonding experience. And it's funny though because like in the original footage that kind of inspired this, we're roasting the heck out of each other.
Oh yeah. So do you want to like tell them about that? Yeah. So like it's
Ooh,
funny because
exclusive.
so when it so when we actually okay, hold on. Let me like backtrack a little. So a few months ago, she had come down to visit. This is back in what, November. And we had some time to kill before having to go to a function later in the evening. So
I
we
think I know what
went.
function.
Oh, yeah, you were there, right?
No, no, no. I was there. That's if I was going to mention that. Sidetrack. No, like I think that is like the second time I seen you two together, because the other time I saw you all together was when it was again in November, and it was at a mutual friend's
Yes.
party.
Yeah.
That was like
Yeah.
the first time I saw you all together, out in the world, like
Yeah.
like, oh
Out of the
wow.
world.
What's no, because I used to work with you, and I would
And
see
then you
you.
met me like
Yeah,
separately.
I
Yeah.
met you separately, like around like the theater scene, or
Yeah.
just sometime like around the downtown area. That the times that I would go out. But yes, but yeah, when our mutual friend had her party in November, that's when like I saw you all two, like out and about hanging out, and I'm like, oh wow,
And he
like
was like, "There's two of them."
Like
no, so like like the not two of them, like oh like this, yeah, yeah, there's two of them. I'll
Yeah.
stick with that. But anyway, I digress. Continue with your story.
Yeah. So, and actually, that mutual friend is our producer, Sindel Delgado. Yes, wonderful. Shout
I
out,
was gonna
Sindel.
keep her anonymous, but yeah, if you want to dox her.
No, I.
she lives at.
She works at. I'm kidding.
No, you don't want to mess. You don't want.
No, no, she has a lightsaber.
She had to break. She had, she had to break a few legs to get this project done. I'm kidding. But yeah,
Yeah,
she had come
we're
down for
still
her
looking for
birthday.
that child.
What? Okay, so
He's
the inspiration
I
for
think
the
he's able
film.
to breathe on his own now. So cut that out.
That is, again, like I said, most unserious creative duo. But anyway, so this was back in November. We had some time to kill before Sindel's party. And we went downtown to that Laredo Park where the Sunny incident occurred. And so we were just, she was just kind of like shooting B-roll. And of course, like we're sisters. So we were just like roasting each other constantly. But then, like at some point, I think it was when I was looking at some crows in the tree, that I was like, hey, do you remember that bird? And then I didn't even finish my sentence. And she's like, Sunny? And I was like, yeah. And so we started like, again, going through the story as we each remembered it. And then we sat down and started talking about like, having like a heart to heart, being nice to each other for a change. Um, and you know, when the showcase was first announced that they were taking submissions, initially my sister and I were thinking of using footage from that day in November. But when I was listening to the clip where we talk about Sonny the Bird, I was like, wait a minute, I have this poem that I haven't really finished yet, but like I think I can finish it, in the next couple of days. And then from that, like work it into a script and it just grew from there.
Nice. And what do y'all have coming next, or what do y'all have like any future projects you're gonna work together on, or it's still like up in the air?
Right now, we've talked about some ideas. I know she shared an idea. I don't want to, give too much away. We talked
Right.
about an
Oh
idea
no,
in
we
the
don't want no one
car
to steal this.
yesterday.
Yeah, literally, and that's what I like about these events is that inspires you to like keep going and like well, if that one made it, like what about next year's or what about other showcases? Because one of the other filmmakers, I can't quite remember her name, was talking about something they have next month in Nuevo Laredo, and it's like, wait, we don't have to just go for this one. There's like constant, like, and especially in Austin, there's always going to be a
Yeah.
way to upload it. And like, there's social media, there's YouTube. So there's ways to like keep working on projects that, don't specifically have, you know, have a deadline or like, we can just keep on going on. So there's nothing official, but we're constantly pointing out now that we've both connected on that level, we're pointing out like, oh, that's a good movie idea, or
Yeah,
that's
we could film there,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
yeah. Just on the way over here, we are like, oh, let's film there.
Yeah.
Like, and we were just like geeking
Uh,
out.
I was the same way too when I was on the road yesterday. Or for anytime I'm like going road tripping, I'll pass by like an abandoned place or like something.
yeah.
And again, because since I'm a horror guy, I'm like, wonder if like how could that be like for a chase scene or something? Oh no, but the office I was at, I think it used to be a garage because in the back it had like that garage door opener
Yeah.
door. So I was just thinking like, oh, this would be a great scene for like again a horror film or something,
Yeah.
and all this stuff. And then my mind started playing tricks on me, and then I started thinking, what if there's something in this place? Because
I know that feeling.
yeah, but yes, the ideas just keep coming.
Yeah. I mean, we have no shortage of ideas.
hmm
Like,
It's
I
just a matter. It's not if, it's when.
yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
watch it.
Watch out.
Yeah, it's just a matter of like actually like plotting it out, and like the fact that we were able to pull this off,
hmm
like in the time and in the amount of time we did, and turn it around and submit it and be happy with it, like that was truly motivating. Like now I feel empowered to like do anything. Take on the
Fuck
world.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny that you bring that up because afterwards, when we were outside of the venue talking to some of the other filmmakers, they were sharing that same feeling of like, "Oh my god, I feel so empowered. We should work together,"
Yeah.
And yeah, we were like literally flexing, we were
We're like,
flexing. Yeah, the girl
yeah.
power was just like so,
It was just bubbling
bubbling
over.
over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so one final question: where can people find you if they want to collaborate or talk shop?
Oh, okay. Well, you can follow me on Instagram. It's at Rebecca, RebekahRdz. And you?
So my current Instagram, we were just talking about this yesterday, is at Radioactive Poltergeist, and
Nice.
I'm in the process of trying to build up a portfolio so I can actually make a separate Instagram, but that'll be announced later on if I actually get around to it.
Mhm.
That's where you can find me.
Awesome.
I don't have any other channels.
Let's thank you, Rebecca and Teresa, for being on the show. I will hope I can have you all back again because we just barely scratched the surface. So there's like
Oh
so
yeah.
much more to talk about. But
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna say that for part two or part two, hot shots.
Oh, my God.
I love that.
Yeah, me too. Okay,
I had
thank
no
you.
business watching that as a kid, but yes.
Sprinkles, gummy bears. Thank you, everybody, for
Thank you.
watching. Remember to always keep on shining.